Welcome to the next episode of Learn from the Pros. Today we're going to be focusing on the Fours Purple Morrigan matchup against Dark Destruction Wesker. Now this matchup is probably, I would argue, the worst matchup for Morrigan, mostly because of the fact that every unit that you mostly are going to be putting on the field can instantly be removed by Dark Destruction. Whereas something like Shinku Hadouken can remove units, but it's not 100% guaranteed depending on the unit you have on the field. Something like Hunk or even like a Lupo at full health, it can't instantly be removed by Shinku Hadouken. So we're going to go over how this matchup kind of works and what you want to do to just basically survive is the goal here. And you really just need to think about how do you need to play around this Wesker, deal with the zombie units that they may or may not have, as well as the new G-Adult card that a lot of Dark Destruction Weskers do like to use. So let's go ahead and check this match out. Alright, so let's get into watching this replay here so I can explain how this matchup goes with the Fours Purple Morrigan versus the Dark Destruction Wesker, which, like I said, is probably Morrigan's worst matchup. Just being able to remove cards off the field instantly. So, good. This is actually a good start here against Dark Destruction Wesker. Mostly because right now we have this card here, the Devil Hunter Dante. Now, the reason why this card is so useful is Dark Destruction Wesker really struggles with flying units. And most of the time, they don't carry any cards that they can drop up front that are going to be able to instantly remove this off the field. So a lot of times, their only option may potentially be to use something like an Obliteration to remove it. So having that card, I decided to drop it here first. If we take a look here, I dropped it. I specifically actually had a time I wanted to drop it at here, which was right around 7. You can actually drop it at 6 if you have Foresight. I don't run Foresight any longer in this deck. I found it actually hurt me more than it did help. So I drop it here around 7 because I know anything he plays here, I can activate my my Splendid Buffet here to activate my Devil Hunter Dante to get him on the field. However, in this match, I actually do make a critical mistake here. So he drops the G-Adult here. So it's a 1/9 card. Interesting how the numbers actually fly in. I never noticed that. So he plays the G-Adult. Now here's the thing that I do make a mistake for. Is he pops the G-Adult and I instantly use the Buffet on it. Now the thing here, like I mentioned earlier, is that the Devil Hunter Dante he's not going to really run into any units that are going to instantly kill him. So I do make a mistake here, and it does cost me a lot in this game, which is why it's such a good game to show you guys, because this puts me really behind, because this is going to put me now at 8 mana, and he's going to be sitting right now, because this card only costs 5, it's going to put me down big time with what happens here. But anyway, what I should have done was just let my Devil Hunter Dante run into this whatever unit he drops, because I know it's either going to kill it, or it's going to be like a unit like this, or another one that's not going to cause me really any problems. So what I decided to do here is I ended up using Splendid Buffet, and I shouldn't have. I should have seen what the situation was, and then been more reliant on my skill on the next round of attack coming in, and then use Splendid Buffet if it was a unit that he had dropped that had done a lot more damage. But seeing it was only something that does 1 damage, I would have actually been better off not doing anything. And then if he uses the ability that he's about to use right here, the Sample Collection, which is now going to kill my Devil Hunter Dante, which is extremely bad. This is going to put me behind because I have no way to stop it, and I'm basically not even at 1 mana yet. He's almost at 1 mana himself up here. So that was really bad choice by me, and does throw me behind a lot here. So this actually puts me in a very, very, very bad situation, because it's already really hard to get ahead against Dark Destruction Wesker without pulling just a massive amount of 4 Eyes and Beltway. So right now I'm very limited on my choices. So I don't really have much of a choice right now but to wait. So that's what I do. So I need to get up to 8 mana. So this is where it's bad because he's also getting up to 8 mana. And he also has 2 units on the field. Now this was an interesting play here. I know he's trying to drop something here to probably block it. And I know I want to take whatever card that is. Ultimately, I probably would have... I don't really know in this situation which one I would have preferred. Because they can both work really well. So... If I take the Tyrant, I have a really nice, strong card on my side of the field. However, if I take the G-Adult, when I kill this Tyrant, it's going to kill the G-Adult. So, realistically, in this situation, either unit can actually be useful to me. But the G-Adult, he can play around. The Tyrant, he really can't. So, most of the time, I'd rather have the Tyrant, because the Tyrant actually just... The Tyrant will just straight up kill the G-Adult. So... but because, and it locks up here for a minute, because the Tyrant dies, the G-Adult actually dies as well. So, interesting interaction there. Once again, drops another G-Adult. Again, a very annoying card. Don't even want to deal with that thing. And now he has Dark Destruction available. Now, this is where it gets really, really bad, because Dark Destruction, it's just going to be able to remove any of my cards for the most part. In a 4's purple deck, you don't run a whole lot of units that aren't 4 cost. So he's able to just remove most things. Now, I know I just need to remove this card. I can't take damage from it. This does help me out a little bit here. Allows me just to get rid of my negate, because there's not a whole lot of negates I'm going to be using in this matchup. So, so I know he has a Tyrant he's trying to get back. So I definitely don't want him to be able to play that Tyrant this early on in the game. Though if he was to, I do have the option here of my Beltway, which would allow me to send the Tyrant back, which is a very, very, very nice thing that I can do. Because that Tyrant at 9 health is scary, Tyrant at 1 health, not so much scary. So I decided to make a choice here that's very random and weird. And I decided I'm going to go ahead and take this G-Adult. Because I know as a 4 player, the G-Adult is extremely difficult to deal with. What I did here as well is I decided to hold on to the Demonic Intimidation. Because I know right now the only unit he's just pulled was a Tyrant. And a 4/9 Tyrant is not something I want to deal with. He's going to go ahead and remove this card, which is a smart move. Having that card on the field is a massive nuisance for him. Now here, I'm trying to think and figure out how I want to play this. Unfortunately, I'm a little slow on the draw here. Because I'm busy thinking, figure out what I want to do, and I take a hit, which I really didn't need to, because what I end up doing here anyway is removing the card on the field. So that was 4 damage I really didn't need to take. But, sometimes if you need to take the time to figure out what the best play is in your hand, it's okay to take the hit as long as it's not a massive crucial hit that you're going to lose in that moment. I was at 25 health. I wasn't in danger of losing at that exact moment. I needed to figure out what I needed to do and what plan I needed to come up with. So this right here is a really big situation for the game, because one, this Tyrant needs to go. So I know this Tyrant, I just can't have him on the field. He is a major threat to me. And a 4/9 unit is just too much for me to really deal with. I don't have I really just have to send it back. I don't have damage to deal with it. So luckily I have a Beltway here in my hand, and what Beltway does is he's going to send any unit that's 4 cost or less back to the EX slot. And what's nice about doing that to a unit like Tyrant here is he loses his revenge buff here. So he will get the revenge again, but he loses the revenge buff, which is really, really important, because I really can't deal with that 9 health. It's just, it's too much for a 4 cost player or 4's to be able to use. So I play the Beltway, send him back. I really don't... he dropped this card here, which is a 5 cost unit. He should actually be able to play a unit here, which would have been optimal for him. But again, he could be in the situation he's trying to figure out what he wants to do. I could choose to remove this unit right here, the High Max. But I know that if I can manage to get my Lupo to run into that High Max, I can steal it, and that is an extremely good card to get against Wesker, not only because he loses a good, powerful revenge unit, but like I stated earlier, Flight is extremely powerful against Wesker. So we want to get whatever Flight the game will allow us to get, which is this what's going to be right here, as long as we're able to steal it. So he plays another G-Adult. I think this ends up being the 3rd one we've run into so far this game, so that's going to be all 3 of them. Very annoying card. And here's where one of the biggest plays that's going to end up helping me here is he removes my Lupo up top. Now, I have the 4 eyes, I have the mana, and the damage I need off of Hymax is there. However, he's got the G baby or young here that I know that if I drop this 4 eyes, there's a big chance there's a 50% chance I could steal this card. So I know I need to get rid of it. I can't have it on the field, and so I'm going to go ahead and use Shadow Blade on it. That card has got to go. So, and I'm able to play the 4 eyes and take the Hymax, which is a very, very, very important steal here. So I'm gonna lose the 4 eyes here in the middle. I'm also gonna lose the Hymax up top because of the little G young guys, and G adults finally gonna be gone here. Now, because of the situation, what I do here is I have Hunk in my hand, and I play the Hunk. Now, the way Hunk works is he starts off as a 2/2 unit with a single shield, and any time a purple unit dies, he gains +1/+1 and an extra shield. So Hunk, in most cases, is actually not that good in this matchup because he is easily removed, either by something like Murderous Spikes or by Dark Destruction. However, he just used Dark Destruction prior to this whole situation I just ran into, so it allows me to drop Hunk here, and unless he's got something like a Just Desserts or another sample collection that he's willing to drop, my Hunk's going to be safe. So even if he plays a Just Desserts here, I at least have a Demonic Intimidation to throw this card back in his into his pocket. So this helps out a lot here. I'm able to drop what I need. And Hunk's at least going to have some survivability here, which is really important. So the Spreading Infection comes out. And so I'm able to drop Lupo, which is really nice, because now I'm going to be able to actually kill 2 units at once. So removing 2 of those units he has on the field. So we're going to lose the shield on Hunk. And Lupo's going to do the damage there. Now, I really want Hunk to survive, because if I can get Hunk to get nice and beefy, Hunk becomes a big problem for him. So this worked out really well for me here. I decided, hey, I got a 3/6 Lupo on the field. That's going to be dangerous if I can get her agility and flight. So if we notice right here, after using that double trigger, I now picked up Hymax. Now that 4/7 Hymax is going to be a massive problem for Wesker to deal with. Now this helps out a whole lot here. He uses the Dark Destruction on my Lupo, in which, again, you can see it actually increases my Hunk now down here to 4/4, and it gives him a shield, which means I can now just run him into this Tyrant, and I'm not going to have any problems with dying. So, again, that's really powerful. I end up dropping the Hymax in the middle because I don't want to take damage from this Cerberus here. I also have Shadow Blade available. So I have a lot of tools right now on the field that are going to do a lot of damage. Most of the units he's going to drop don't really have much above 4 health. So they'll either run into me and die, or like in the Hymax's case, I can just fly him over and he'll hit. So I can just get some free damage in here as long as he can't remove this card or this card, because both cards actually are very dangerous for him. So Hunk there, again, doesn't take any damage. Hymax goes in. Now, I really don't want my Hunk to die here, because Hunk is a really powerful card, and that Tyrant's going to be really annoying if I let him kill me. So I go ahead and use the Shadow Blade here so I can get more free damage in, and this is where I'm just able to get whatever damage I can. And this is part of the thing that G-Adult can be bad for against this Wesker. So in most situations where you're playing against a Dark Destruction Wesker, you're going to be dropping a lot more revenge units early on in the game. However, he dropped 3 G-Adults and like 2 Tyrants at the beginning of this match, and that was it. So the majority of his match, he's actually been playing anything but revenge units, which lets me know he doesn't have a lot of revenge units in his hand, and so he's going to have to cycle through things to get them. Well, I recognize that in this matchup, and I realized, hey, he doesn't have the revenge units you'd normally want out of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let these guys go, and I need to keep them alive so I can just apply as much pressure as I can. Because I do have this card here, the Tigrex, which is a 4/7 rush with haste and spillover. So he's a great card in many matches if you have the MP to just absolutely just finish the opponent off with it. As long as you can kill one of the units on the field that has health. So I'm able to get up to this damage here, and this is where I know, unless he can take this out right now because of the flight, or he has another Hymex he can drop, I can actually win the game here by dropping the Tigrex here to defend against this, and kill it on the counterattack, and then hit face really, really fast that he won't have time to react because of that extra haste and the rush. So that's exactly what I do there, and I'm able to actually win that matchup. So I was behind for most of that game. So you'll see that it really is just a very difficult matchup to deal with at times. But you just have to, with the 4s purple, sometimes you just have to sit there and you have to take the damage. It's really important that you figure out what you want on the board and you find a way to get it. If you have an option that you can get it with, for instance, that time I needed that Hymax and I wanted it, I couldn't let him have it, and it was really powerful for me to have it. It was actually good for me to use the Shadow Blade on the Ji Young and take the Hymax. So really important we do things like that in the matchups, because things like that can make or break a match. And that's kind of what 4's purple is all about, is just finding the optimal move and making it. And sometimes it's hard to make that optimal move, or sometimes you have to use something, an ability or a Shadow Blade, or a Splendid Buffet that you don't want to use, but sometimes you need to, because you need to steal that card. You need to send that card back. You need to get through cards in your hand. So it's all about just playing good. This is a very skill-based deck. That it does take a lot of skill to play it. You have to know what's in your hand. You have to know what the possibilities are that your opponent can drop, because there are times you may need to drop a Beltway or 4 Eyes at the last second before your opponent drops something, and you need to have some game knowledge and matchup knowledge to go, hey, I know this is a Dark Destruction Wesker, this is this, and he just played this big card, so he doesn't have a lot of mana, but he probably has enough to drop something that's low on HP. So you can drop a unit to either send it back or steal it before your unit runs in. Most of the time, it's going to be Wesker that you're going to be doing this against. It does work against 4 purple Morgan as well in the mirror match, but most of the time on those you're just going to be wanting to do Beltway, because they're not going to drop any. There's only one unit they'll drop that has 4 health or less, and it's not really a good unit you want to steal very often. So that's always Beltway is probably your best buddy there. As long as you're not sending back Beltways and you're not sending back 4 Eyes, you want to remove those as soon as possible. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Learn from the Pros. This is probably one of the most annoying and difficult matchups. But it was the matchup that got me finally back over to my 2K hump that I've been struggling with the past couple days. So after winning about 18 games in a row or so, finally got back over it. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video and enjoyed the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and then follow on Twitter, and you can see me live on Twitch as well. I'm officially now part of a professional esports team, Team Genji, so you might be able to see me in some tournaments and stuff later on in the future. So if you like the channel, make sure to subscribe, leave any comments you have, or any matchups you want to see down below, so I can maybe make some new Learn from the Pros videos about those, whatever you guys want to see, and I will see you next time.